In this video, I'm gonna share with you 9 outdated YouTube growth tips. And these are ones that I have seen work in the past, which I've used myself. I've been at this now for over 15 plus years. I've built multiple YouTube channels that have built multiple 6- and 7-figure brands. I don't use these anymore. And I'm gonna share with you why. The other thing I'm going to be sharing with you are really the only 3 things that you need to focus on in order to get views. And this is really important if you're a small channel. So with that being said, let's get into it. I've got my handy dandy little whiteboard here and we're gonna blast through these. I want you to take notes. And if I have one here that you're actually doing right now, I would love to know that in the comments. Let me know if you're using one of these after we go through them. So let's get into it. All right, so the first one is the video intro. And I see this mistake happening all the time. And it used to be something that was useful and it maybe got people to think you were more professional. We don't need that anymore. We need to get right to the content. So in the very beginning of the video, if you've got a little jingle, maybe showing some highlights of your brand, I'd get rid of it personally, because we need to capture that attention. You got to remember, 15 years ago, there wasn't YouTube Shorts. The attention span was a little bit longer, but nowadays we got to get them hooked and we got to get them to stick around. We don't want them to click off because they're watching some jingle. All right, so number 2 of the outdated YouTube tips is, well, the how-to content. Only going after search traffic. Now, does this mean that you don't focus on search traffic? Sure, you absolutely want to do that. That's more long tail, but what we do is we're going after 70% is going to be discovery and the 30% is going to be how to. So we are going to be still doing some, but just not nearly as much. Years ago, it was all how to content. So you want to switch that up. And as far as the 70% is concerned, we really base everything off of our titles. We are starting with the title, but not just any title. We're starting with an outlier title because the outlier title is going to prove that it's already worked. And we have been doing that now for over 2 years, and it has taken our channels and accelerated the growth. Now, if you are struggling with titles to get you more views, I've got a little cheat sheet for you. It's actually 10 of our top title hooks that you can use. I actually turned those into templates that I used on a separate YouTube channel of mine, and I brought it over here to Live Video School and used them here as well, and they've worked for some of our students. So if you want a copy of that, just put hooks in the comments and I'll send you a copy of that where you can take those and you can adapt them to your niche. And I actually show you some examples on how you can do it. So hooks in the comments and I'll send you a copy. All right, so the third one is asking for the subscribers. You probably notice here that I haven't even asked for a subscriber, and I'm not going to. We've got some videos with over 100,000 views that have gotten us over 3,000 subscribers, and we never asked for it. So that's another thing that we were told to do years ago, and I did it myself. The very first part of the video, we're like, hey, before we get started, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you comment, all that stuff. We don't do that. Okay, that's outdated stuff that we're not doing anymore because it just doesn't work. And again, going back to what I talked about earlier, we gotta hold that attention. Now, there is one thing that I'm not sure if it still works. I kind of think it does, and I'm gonna test it right here, right now. I'm gonna have you, or I'm gonna ask you, if you're getting value from this video, to like this video. I think that YouTube still looks at likes as a vote. So we're gonna find out if you have found this valuable and you would like to, well, be part of this test. Go ahead and click like on this video so we can go ahead and we can run a test and see, does that tip, does it work? All right, so number 4 is over edited thumbnails. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's where we have to have highly produced, a designer has to create it, or it has to look like a designer created it, where it looks real professional and it's real flashy and a lot of colors. That stuff, we don't need to do that anymore. Honestly, simple is better. Now, within the thumbnail, yes, we want to show a little emotion in the face maybe, or we also want to have a couple, maybe 2, maybe 3 words at most that invoke curiosity. But the days of having a graphic designer create the days of needing a highly edited thumbnail don't need it anymore. And once again, let me know in the comments if you're still doing any of these. All right, number 5, and I've done this years ago, is where we take the title and we put that in the thumbnail. Yeah, we actually take the same thing in the title, that long title, and then we would go ahead and write it on the thumbnail, thinking people are scrolling and they're gonna read all that. We gotta keep in mind, years ago, we were only looking on a computer monitor, we weren't looking on the phone. So having all of that text on that thumbnail, it's not doing you any good, and it's really looking messy. No one can read it anyway. So if you're doing that, I'd stop. All right, number 6, keyword stuffing. We don't need to do it anymore, guys. And I'll tell you why. Because YouTube has evolved. It's transcribing our entire video. In this video, I've already mentioned YouTube a bunch of times. I've mentioned keyword stuffing. I've mentioned how-to content. All of the things that are related to this video, that are related to my niche, are already being said in the video. And YouTube is transcribing all of that, and their AI is seeing it. So you don't need to do that anymore. So don't stuff keywords in your descriptions. All right, number 7, kind of similar, is hashtags. Oh, if we can find that golden hashtag and put it in our title at the very end, we're gonna go ahead and get pushed. Not how it works. We don't need to do that anymore. It might have worked for a short while, but it doesn't work anymore. And then the other thing is putting those hashtags in your description down at the bottom. We don't need to do that anymore. Now, if you want to throw 2 or 3 in there just because it makes you feel good, that's okay, you can. I think we've even got a few videos on this channel that we've done it. I don't necessarily think it makes a big difference, but I've seen some people put 20, 30 different keywords, all of their tags, which by the way, you don't have to put tags in. We don't even put tags in anymore. That's an old outdated tip that I didn't even add to the list. So hashtags, we don't need them anymore. All right, number 8 is naming the video file. Now, I have done this, didn't see a bit of difference, but we have to also remember, does YouTube really care? Are they really going to take that video file that you put a keyword in for that video in the naming of it, and that's gonna make you all of a sudden get a lot more discovery, a lot more ranking? Nah. But I will say this, you probably should just name it whatever the video is, so that way there you can find it when you're looking for it. That's really the only reason why you gotta name that video file. It's not for SEO or having any other advantage. So I wouldn't waste my time doing that, but I would do it to keep yourself organized. All right, number 9, and I actually did a video on this the other day on another guru that was saying that you should schedule your video and let it sit for 24 to 48 hours so the algorithm can see the transcript. I mean, they're thinking like, well, YouTube's got to take some time. It's got to take about 24 hours before they can actually transcribe a video. No, wrong. If you actually go in about less than 10 minutes, your video is going to be transcribed. So there's no need for that. We basically will either schedule it because we want it to go out at a certain time, or we'll just go ahead and press publish. And that's it. So the days of trying to trick the algorithm by scheduling and giving the algorithm more time before it actually goes live, don't need to do that. All right, so I did want to give you the new formula that we are using for this channel that has also resulted in under 9 months, we've gotten 28,000 subscribers and over 1 million channel views by following what I'm going to share with you right here. The first thing is your title. That is the most important piece of this whole equation, your title. And I would say your outlier titles are the most important because you are going to be able to base it off of something that's already worked. And if you did want that free resource that I mentioned earlier, just comment hooks and I'll send you a copy of our 10 top outlier titles that we've used in multiple niches. All right, the second part of this equation is going to be that thumbnail. Your thumbnail, extremely important, because once we get the impression, we get YouTube to show our video to people, we now need people to click on it. So that's our click-through rate. Super important. And the third part of this equation, which I don't hear a lot of people talking about, is your intro of the video. And I don't mean a jingle. That's not what we want to do. What we want to do is we want to hook the viewer so they stick around, because that shows the algorithm that people are clicking, but they're also sticking around. And a lot of people struggle with those video intro hooks. And that's why I shot a video right here that shows you exactly how to create killer hooks that hold retention. Watch that video next, and I'll see you there.